You will.
Any board rise, pledge allegiance.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll open the meeting with public comment. Is there any public comment? See, I guess we can have we have minutes here from March sixth, 2019.
We'll move to approve the March 6th minutes as presented.
So
Say March?
March.
Say May.
Of May.
Oh, let's try
May
May.
6th.
Okay.
Looks like March is what we're reading.
Now, second motion to approve the minutes from May sixth.
Motion been made and seconded to approve minutes from May 6th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Let's see, got some mail here. Let's see. Broadwater County Health Alert, preventive tick bites, high level, ticks are coming out, pets vaccinated, all that good stuff. Do we have a DNRC floodplain permit? And I guess the question is why are we paying for this? This is a DNRC permit, right? Is
That's
it a DNRC
correct.
ad?
Yep, yeah, I
My
think it's
question
an
as
error
well.
that it was sent to us,
Yeah.
and so we need to send that back and have them send it to the right people.
Return it back.
Yeah,
Have a letter from the Montana Department of Transportation. The Project Analysis Bureau of the Montana Department of Transportation will soon publish the 2019-2023 statewide transportation improvement plan, improvement program, a list of transportation improvements planned for Montana during the next 5 years.
No, if I remember right, I'm thinking that this is, when I was talking with the engineer from Butte, that this is the program that they're going through this process right now, trying to select those, and our project out here on Highway 12 is being considered for that.
yeah,
Unfortunately, that's within the next 5 years, but at least it's up.
exactly, yeah. And we'll get more information. Wayne from MDT usually comes to our district meeting, which is, I think, the 6th of June. And we
Isn't it?
usually round up the end of the day with a
Right,
discussion with him.
right.
Yeah.
I think that the project that's down there from, the road that comes off of, Winkaziers, or that'll connect from Camp Hill back.
430,
Yeah, 437?
437 to the
I
Camp
think
Hill.
that's gonna be done here in the next 2 years, if I remember right what he told me on that.
Okay, good,
So that'll be
yeah.
good to have that done, and all those roads will change the way they enter there, so. One little piece at a time.
Absolutely, yeah. Hey, Mike, these are 2 more pieces of mail I forgot to put in your stack.
So a letter from the Broadwater County Alliance, thanks for the use of the lawn for the Easter egg hunt. We had a great turnout, Bob Bradford, Broadwater County Alliance. And a letter from the National Association of Counties, election of National Association of County officers and voting on policies.
So we have a ballot on the back page. Because I've been appointed to the National Justice and Public Safety Committee, I will be attending that meeting. So if it's good with you guys, I would be more than happy to cast a vote for Broadwater County. Otherwise, we have no vote.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
All right. Just needs to be signed at the bottom. I filled everything out.
Oh, going back to the MDT, and I don't know if anybody's interested, but they do have a webcam set up there. So you can watch.
Down south?
Yes, on the new bridge project. So if you're interested in going online and the MDT site, you can watch the progress of the new bridge and all the construction down there, so. There you go.
Awesome.
Is that on all day long?
It is.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it recorded?
It is recorded, yeah. And you can go back through different timelines, and right now, there's not a whole lot going on, you're just watching trains go through there, but they are moving forward.
Be handy though.
Yeah.
So we get a crash out there, you can go back and pull that video.
So there you go. Yep, exactly.
I guess we can go ahead with the commissioner's update. See, I drove the Copper City Road, the 6 Mile Road, and Hilltop Road, looking at some road issues. Also attended a hospital board meeting, the Silos Working Group meeting with the concessionaires, BLM, BOR, and also attended the compensation board hearing.
I also attended the Silos working meeting as well as the County Compensation Board meeting. Also had an awful lot going on with the National Criminal Justice Association this week. Road negotiations, we all three were there. And the Agency on Aging, which is, there's 9 in the state. Ours is kind of under or partnered with Rocky Mountain Development Council. And we had our annual meeting on grants this week and gave 19,400 and some to our public health office. So it was a real good meeting. Everybody comes with ideas and the updates for their department. So we have everybody come and they end up taking notes and networking between each other. Had some really good new ideas and old ideas solidified. And that's about it.
Okay, I also attended the BOR meeting out at the Silos. That night I had to give a talk to the Boy Scouts about local government, so it was kind of interesting. They asked some good questions. We had our department head meeting on Thursday. Turned out to be a great meeting for the folks that were there. Really appreciate that. We're kind of moving forward and making some good progress here. It was some great updates by the departments, things that I didn't know was going on, and I think everybody shared some good information, so it turned out good. Fair board meeting that night as well. And the fair is going forward. Those folks, you know, my first time being involved with it, they put in a lot of work. There's a lot goes on to organize that fair, and I'm sure with the rodeo board as well, just to make that look as smooth as it does. There's a lot of work go there, so thanks to those folks for doing that.
Yes.
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chairman. Would like to thank Commissioner Wolford for kind of giving us a summary of what he does and hears at some of these meetings that he goes to. It really helps the people know what's going on, rather than saying I attended the meeting, and it helps us also with the Broadway Reporter to let people know what's going on, because not everybody can attend a lot of these meetings. So we appreciate you helping get that word out, Mr. Chairman, and we hope to kind of expand on that if we can. Thank you.
Yes,
In
Win.
regards to the rodeo, since Darryl brought it up, we do something different this year. Friday night's been Uniform Services Appreciation Night. Last year, I'm actually trying to, I'm hoping this evening we have our rodeo meeting. I'm gonna try to get the, it's called the Man Up Cause, Man Up Crusade. And it's a national campaign for domestic violence awareness. And it's started by a sheriff over in Idaho. And so it doesn't cost us anything, but we hope that you guys would find your way out during the Friday night show, I guess, and support. We wear purple that night, and so hopefully, if all goes well, we have a bounty bowl we're going to cover in purple powder, and I guess it's quite a spectacle. But we're going to try that this year, along with our Tough Enough to Wear Pink as well. But we'll let you guys know that we're going to take a little different approach towards our Friday night thing, and see how it goes. So that's all.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, did Bill Drocky email you guys on to set up the budget for, I think
22nd? Is that something right? Is that, like, I'm trying to, my days are getting confused, but,
He did, we have another meeting we have to reschedule, and I emailed him back and said,
Okay.
we'll get back to you just as soon as we can.
okay, yeah.
So, yeah, he did.
So that's, him and Brandon have done great work on that. And I think it's, the way it sits right now, with a little give and take, it's balanced with an extra $15.32. So, yeah, it's, we went through it last week, and it's very, I think it's a good product. So, they've worked very hard together, back and forth on the emails to make that happen, so I think it'll work.
Thanks.
Okay, so can we go ahead and close this and then have our public hearing, or do we need to wait 5 minutes? What else do we have, anything else?
As long as we don't close it before 10:15, we'd be good, because then somebody could come in and offer their comment.
Okay. So we will close the commissioners' meeting and recess the commissioners' meeting and open the public hearing to adopt a resolution defining the boundaries of the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service District within Broadwater County. This is a resolution defining the boundaries of Three Forks Area Ambulance Service District within Broadwater County. Whereas the Broadwater County Commissioners wish to define the boundaries of the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service District within Broadwater County, Montana, and whereas the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service District is a private, nonprofit ambulance service that provides emergency medical services to the citizens located within the southern portion of Broadwater County, and whereas the legal description for the area located within Broadwater County designated as Three Forks Area ESN Zone 354 is as follows. All lands laying south of the north line of section 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 of Township 3 North Range 1 East and Township 3 North and Range 2 East situated in Broadwater County, Montana. Now therefore it be resolved that the Broadwater Board of County Commissioners shall define and adopt by a resolution the boundaries as defined in the legal description contained above the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service District within Broadwater County, Montana. Is there any public discussion on this? Yes, Tim?
Quick question, Mr. Chairman. Your legal description, do you have a road that people can relate to that you can show that north boundary? I'm gonna assume it's a north boundary.
It is, it'll follow the 101 road,
Okay.
which has kind of been the boundary we've used for
Thank
that
you.
whole area down there, yeah. And it'll follow that section line clear to the east to the river,
Got
if
it,
you could visually.
got it, thank you.
And then that actually, just so everybody kind of understands the reason we did this is the Three Forks Ambulance Service Area serves actually both Gallatin County and Broadwater County. So they felt it was important to identify and define that area that they serve within Broadwater County. That's really the whole purpose of this resolution. And so that's pretty much it.
Didn't they have some blowback from their citizens on why they were going up that far? Wasn't that part of the conversation as well?
Why we're going that far north?
Yeah, wasn't that why, because they're like, well, it's not specified, so why,
Right.
yeah, I think it was just more of a cleanup issue than it was
Sure.
anything else. How are you? I'm doing well.
That road comes across south of the hill after you come off of 437, right? Out in by the Three Forks sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just, so that area is gonna include Copper City, some of that discussion that we've had last week. They'll be responding to that area if there's something there.
And they have, I don't know if you're aware of that. So that's BLM ground, right? So a couple weeks ago, they had a bicycle crash up there, kid broke his femur.
And we talked about that.
Yeah, Well, Brandon's talked to the guy who sets that up, they have 6 large functions up there, and they expect 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, call BLM and have them get their little ranger over here, and he can run through there and keep them, do some policing on that,
Right.
because that's gonna be
And,
dangerous.
we talked last week, I don't know if you, were you here for that little discussion? You might not have been, anyway. Corey was here and it turned to, you know, what is gonna be the county right away, or the county's responsibility for maintaining what portion of Copper City, and that's still all up in the air. There's still some legal things that need to be sorted out there, but yeah, I know you guys are gonna probably reach out to the law enforcement side of that. We'll kind of try to take care of the other part and see what we can get worked out there so that we have good access in and out of there, because that seemed like that was the big issue when we talked with those folks there,
Yep.
so, anyway, okay, good.
Well, that's that backside, that's probably the worst part, the Eustis side, because there's really not an access point off of Eustis, so that made it complicated, I think, so.
Is that a designated campground in there?
I don't know, I don't think that it is yet, but,
I've never, I haven't been up there since I did all the improvements, but it used to just be somewhere where people go and ride their motorcycles and shoot guns, and so it's changed quite a bit.
yeah, they got an area moved out there for a parking lot and some different things, and so, but we do need to have that conversation with our BLM partners and see what their plan is, and
They've been very silent partners.
a little bit, I guess.
They've actually worked very well with Nicole.
Yeah.
She's been intimately involved with them. So, and I know that we asked her last week to follow up on that, so I think we should keep her as the point of contact. But it's not motorbikes up there anymore.
No.
I did get a couple of concerned calls about that. It's mountain bikes.
Right.
So, yeah, but, yeah, we had a good discussion last week, but I do think we should keep Nicole on that as our point of contact. But they've worked very well
Is there
together.
signage that says that motorbikes are prohibited? Do you know? I don't know.
That I don't know. I haven't looked for that. I have been up there a
I
number
know
of
there's that new
times.
sign there when you drive in, and I don't really know what it says, to be honest with you, so.
I just, in case there's a conflict, I hate to have somebody on a speed rocket go through there when people are trying to be on their mountain bikes, so.
All right. If there's any other public comment on this, if not, we will close the hearing and go back to the commissioners' meeting for a decision to adopt a resolution defining the boundaries of the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service District within Broadwater County.
Mr. Chairman, I sent an email to you guys. Daryl, I appreciate you sending this to us for edits, and I totally missed the title. I did send you an email about that on Friday, I think, maybe Thursday. But
Right.
anyway, a few years ago, we petitioned the state through the census process to name that area Wheatland. It is now a state-recognized certified designated place, a CDP. And I think to remain consistent, we should change where it says Three Forks area to Wheatland area, just for consistency. And that would be my only request. Other than that, I think it's a great resolution and the clarification's important.
Is the Wheatland designation though just for that area up there by Wheat, Montana and Rolling Glen? That doesn't go all the way to the county line, clear down to Sappington, down that way.
I don't know the boundaries, but I do know that Three Forks area is not a designated area. So it's more of a common knowledge, whereas a CDP is a registered designated place. So, you know, I don't know if the boundary goes all the way down, although memory would serve that it probably does. I don't know, but neither one is real clear if that is not the case. Wheatland, though, is more clear because it is an actual certified place. I know it's just splitting hairs, but I do think it's important that we follow what we've done as far as the
I'm trying
title.
to see where it says Three Forks area.
It does in the, I don't have a copy with me, but it does in the title, and then also in one of the whereases, it says designated as Three Forks area. It's actually technically incorrect. It's designated as the Wheatland area through the CDP.
But this is the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service. They're not called the Wheatland Area Ambulance Service.
Are they officially called
Yeah.
the Three Forks
Yeah.
area? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that-
fine then.
Yeah.
But I do think the whereas needs to be changed, where it says designated as, unless it's saying it's designated as the title of the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service. If it's saying it's serving that area, then it needs to say Wheatland.
You're saying the designated as the Three Forks, the emergency services, number? Is that what you're referring to?
Should we just add to the end of that, just add in the Wheatland area?
That'd be perfect. Yeah,
Just a resolution defining the boundary of Three Forks area ambulance service district within Broadwater County in the Wheatland area.
it's not in, we're not referring to the Gallatin area, which the Wheatland, the Three Forks area ambulance service would encompass both counties. So I think that's important for clarification. And then, if I may look over your shoulder, where it says, Broadwater County, whereas the legal description for the areas located within Broadwater County designated as Three Forks area, ESN zone, that should for sure say Wheatland area because of the CDP. And then up here, your idea, Mike, that would just clarify it. And then we keep the title of Three Forks Area Ambulance Service. I didn't realize that was their title.
Yes, Wayne?
My only, I guess, do we know if Milligan Canyon, because Milligan Canyon Road is the boundary of that south end. And that's 8 miles from the Wheatland area. So I guess, as long as, I would say that Three Forks Ambulance runs that far out there, they run to Sappington Junction. Should probably have it, you know, to encompass both, I would say, just so there's.
It does win. What we're talking about is just clarifying, but it is actually, thanks to Daryl clarifying this for me, the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service. They already have a designated boundary, but with our resolution for Broadwater County alone, which is just a portion of that boundary, it should refer to our CDP as the state knows the area for clarification. That's all I'm asking for. So, it doesn't change the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service boundaries at all. It's just clarification for Broadwater County.
What does the ESN stand for, Emergency Services? What?
Emergency service number. So it just identifies a response zone that they respond to.
Must be NFL time.
So in the title,
Leave the title just at the end, a resolution defining the boundaries of the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service District within Broadwater County in the Wheatland Area CDP. And then the third whereas, change designated as Three Forks area to designated as Wheatland area CDP, comma, ESN. And if you guys are good with that and there's no further comment, I'll move that we adopt the resolution with those two edits.
Is there a second?
no second motion.
Motion been made, second to approve the resolution to defining the boundaries of the Three Forks Area Ambulance Service District within Broadwater County and Wheatland areas. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries. Do we wanna sign this, or just have have someone rewrite this and then sign that?
I think if we could make those small edits and then sign it, that would be
Okay.
fine. Thank you.
Okay, so we can move on to our 1035 changes to the Mako insurance pools. Is this the stuff that we went over with
Yes,
Julie and those guys,
yeah.
joint powers agreements? So we have a motion to approve the property and casualties and workman's compensation change in bylaws for the Mako insurance.
Also move.
Is there a second?
One second.
Motion been made and seconded to sign and approve the property and casualty workman's compensation bylaw changes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Yes.
We have a copy of the original presentation that was given by Mako on the insurance, and you're adopting the program with amendments that you guys have gone through. Could you just quickly summarize
I
what
think
those
that we have
changes are?
I think that we have just the ones that were sent to us, we can get them to you.
They were in the packet, so he
They're in
has
the
them
packet
already.
that Julie gave us.
Yeah.
Is that in Ann's office?
We have, I don't know if it is or not, we have it in our office, but Tim was specifically given a copy, so he already
Yes, I got
has
a copy
those.
that day, but I just wondered if there's any changes from that copy.
Oh, okay. No.
That's the question, Mr. Chairman.
Do you remember what those changes were?
They were bylaw changes for Mako. I don't have them memorized,
Okay.
but they are in that packet, so Tim has a copy.
Okay.
Thank you.
And they're not germane to Broadwater County itself. It's,
They pertain to the entire organization.
exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess just for clarification, did Broadwater County make any additional requests for changes from that presentation?
No, those were simply ones brought to Mako by the Mako board.
Right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Just wanted to make sure we're clear.
Okay, the weed board bylaws. Was Jessica coming in for this?
She emailed this morning and she has some sick kids at home.
Oh, okay.
I do sit in on this board and have brought a number of updates to you guys, but I will tell you that this was approved by unanimous vote of the weed board. The motion was made by Peter and seconded by Nathan. It does comply with the new resolution. Also, it complies with the MOU that we have with the weed board, as well as the new policy governing boards that we adopted in January. There are a couple of small changes I would suggest. And the first one would be under Article 4, and it's very small. Section 6 says compensation. Members shall receive reimbursement for mileage. I think we should change that to may. We actually only have one board member who requests that, and it should not be imposed. I believe it should be optional. And the other change would be pretty benign as well. It's Section 8, second full paragraph, and it says, at the end of each meeting open to the public, the board shall provide for an opportunity for the public to comment. I would just suggest that it say at each meeting, so that the board can, based on their agenda, either have that at the beginning or the end.
What are you suggesting there?
Section 8,
Yeah.
second full paragraph, it says, at the end of each meeting open to the public, the board will hold public comment. I would just suggest to the board that they amend that to say at the beginning or end of each meeting, so that the chair can change that as they need to, based on their agenda, what they have to cover. If somebody calls before a meeting and says, hey, I'd really like to enter public comment, but I have another meeting that night, it's nice for the chair not to be held by their bylaws, to be able to say, yeah, we'll go ahead and have public comment at the beginning of the meeting to accommodate.
So I have a couple of comments then too. So going back to Article 1, they struck out to be an advisory board to Broadwater County Commissioners to improve the control of noxious weed and recommend a noxious weed management plan for the district. Why would they want to take that out of there?
They used to actually be a supervisory board, and there were some issues with some personnel. So our staff and this commission go through multiple trainings on personnel issues. We have the most stringent laws for personnel in the world, in the country. And it's incredibly important that we follow those laws to a T so that we don't get into legal jeopardy. So when there were some errors made, what we did is we worked with HR and the weed board and Mark Lincoln at the time, and changed the board into an advisory board from a supervisory board. And the question was, do you guys want to supervise staff? And they said, absolutely not. So that's why that was done. It doesn't really matter that it's not in here, because it is in the resolution creating or redefining this board, that they are advisory. So that it's not in here is, bylaws do not trump the resolution. The resolution is the governing authority over this board, which maintains them as advisory.
Okay. And then how about the recommending the noxious weed management plan?
If you look in Article 3, it says the board shall, number 1, the board shall, and then it says A, provide a written
Okay.
county noxious weed
So
management
it's just a
plan.
duplication,
Yeah,
basically, okay.
and that's actually their job by law, and that would trump bylaws as well. And I brought a copy of the MOU if you want to see it regarding the advisory issue. And basically what you'd be doing is asking a bunch of volunteer board members to attend trainings. That can be pretty heavy duty for somebody who needs to be plowing in the fields.
So go to Article 4, Section 3.
about the members not serving more than 6 consecutive years. I know we've had that discussion,
Mhm.
that we wanted to try to limit that term, but we would make an exception if there was a way to fill that, and they were doing a great job. So it looked like they struck that out.
Correct. And that is okay because our policy, which I also brought copies of,
Right, I got that.
this actually has it in it, and this would trump the bylaws as well.
All right.
The bylaws are inter-board operations. What we do is oversight of those boards' operations, and that's why they trump.
All right, Article 5, Section 4, the secretary issue,
Yes.
okay? Are they going to select a secretary from amongst the board, or are they going to appoint one from someplace else?
According to this, they plan to appoint one from their board.
Mhm.
Now, sitting in on those meetings, none of those guys is interested in taking notes.
Right,
A suggestion I put to the chair is, why not look to somebody in FFA or 4-H, or somebody interested in a career in weed management or biology? What a great opportunity for them to learn what goes on with local government, learn about weed board, noxious weeds. So that is my suggestion to them, and it's up to them, but I was actually surprised to see their bylaws state this about the secretary.
mhm,
So maybe they had some further thought. I did not make the meeting before the last working meeting,
mhm.
but nothing was said at the last meeting about this specifically.
So they struck out shall and put in may, so that means they're gonna have the option of electing a secretary?
Correct. Yeah. And my hope is that they would earnestly pursue a student to let this be a teaching opportunity.
Yes, under that same section, Article 4, Section 9, under the agenda. So they just swap around, they want the weed coordinator to draft the agenda,
Article, which,
4, Section 9,
Article 4, I don't have.
no, I'm sorry, Article 6.
Oh, okay.
Article 6, Section 9.
Section 9. Section 9. Okay, what's your question?
Well, it says they want the weed coordinator to draft the agenda. I don't really think that's our weed coordinator's job to draft their agenda.
Good catch. Yeah, the MOU actually states, and this was Mark Lincoln's request, he didn't think it was appropriate that the coordinator draft the agenda because the chair, that's actually their job, but also you don't want a situation where a coordinator would withhold some information or manipulate an agenda, so you really want your chair to have that responsibility. So it's actually in our MOU, and that's one of those things that we should have changed in these bylaws. So
Okay.
good catch on that. We can allow or put in here that they'll work together, but it should be the chair.
Mhm. I guess my next question was, Section 10 below that, and I was kind of determined what we decided on the secretary, so who was going to keep their minutes? Shall be kept by,
They actually are kept in the clerk and recorder's office upstairs, and that is in law.
okay,
But they do have to have somebody take those minutes, so if they don't pursue that student, it will have to fall to one of the board members.
then Article 7 on the last page there. So it looks like they don't wanna have a unanimous vote for changing their bylaws. Just by majority,
Correct,
okay?
and that is allowed. They do have a meeting next week. If it's good with you guys, what we could do is, let them know that those are our only suggested changes, and then adopt it a week after.
Sure.
Okay. And if you see any more, let me know and I'd be happy to take that to the board.
On Article 6, Section 6, final action on a motion shall be made by a roll call vote. They're not doing roll call votes now, are they?
No, they're not, so that actually, we should maybe put may instead of shall. And that way, should they decide, if they do have a split vote, that way they could decide to have a roll call vote and attach each person's name to their vote in the minutes.
And they also have that mentioned in Section 10 of that article. Upon request of a board member, a roll call. This is the one about the minutes.
Yes. Probably should leave that there, just because it is allowed. And it says may. Oh, but shall include all, upon request, yeah, so that makes it something they can do, but they don't have to.
I'll send these back to the weed board for changes then.
Yeah,
And have them put it back on the agenda. When are they meeting?
Wednesday night, so I'll let them know of what we discussed, so they have that information before the board. Is Jessica here? No. Jessica's gonna try and be here if she could.
Okay, let's go to the Mental Health Local Advisory Council sign office use agreement. We have to get a new copy of that office agreement that is for the, what used to be called the Little House, that is now called the Bridge, for the Mental Health Local Advisory Council, located next door to the Forest Service building.
Yeah.
Then we go to the employee work hour policy.
Hey, Mike, can I, venture a motion that we go ahead and sign that as soon as we get it? We've reviewed it, it was brought in mail last week, so we've all seen it. There's no cost to the county, so I would like to move that we sign the agreement, as soon as we get another copy from Mary Ellen.
Motion been made to sign the Mental Health Local Advisory Council office agreement. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion been made and seconded to sign mental health. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. or the 1030, our employee work hour policy. So is this office hours, is that what we're looking at?
No, here's the emails, some of them. This started before your time, Daryl, maybe 6 months ago. We have several employees who, despite working full-time for the county, need a second job in order to make ends meet. So when some part-time jobs opened up, one of our employees asked if he could work that second job. He said he would negotiate working straight time. So we put it to HR, and we have some emails, they're not included there, that say, actually, law does not prohibit that, but it's not necessarily best practices. So this employee did go to MACO to get a follow-up on the legal question. Those are the answers there. According to McKinsey, you would have to pay that employee time and a half for the second position. It kind of goes to the idea, if you have two attorneys, you have three different opinions. The other attorney had thought, and it was Jim Nyes with Personnel Plus, he is the one that thought it was bad practice, but legally you can actually pay straight time if an employee agrees. The two thoughts are, one, if an employee is working a second job anyway to make ends meet, and they're working for the county, we can monitor that that employee isn't getting overtired. If they are responsible for driving a county vehicle, you don't want somebody who's gonna fall asleep at the wheel because they're working two jobs. If they're working for the county, we can monitor that. If they're not working for the county, we have absolutely no control over that, other than seeing how they're doing in their first job. We might not even know they have a second job. So, all of that kind of culminates into these emails where Mackenzie says in black and white, it is actually illegal. That you have to pay the time and a half, and I can see where you could get into trouble with our personnel laws, even with negotiations. So I wanted to bring that up and put it to a vote so that our employees know definitively what their option is or are.
This is very similar to our reserve program. You, Laura, you were here when we did the reserves. Anybody that was a full-time employee of the sheriff's office, if they want to be reserve, they had to pick out which one they want to be. You want to be reserve, you want to be a full-time employee, because the reserves were compensated. And so anything they did as a reserve over their 40 hours a week was overtime. And it was like, yeah, that doesn't work. So that's something that we dealt with on our side of the house. 2011, I'm taking a guess, somewhere in that fashion. So I didn't know we still had issues with it, but yeah, there's a lot of problems when you start having people working in the same organization. And when I say county is the organization, a full-time or part-time job, that really causes a mess.
So I had a chance to talk with Debbie and Michelle, our finance and HR, and I listened to what they said, and I do see a lot of issues that are gonna arise out of that, and they both advised against it, and McKinsey, even though it is legal, really thinks that it's not the thing to do, and talking with Michelle Edmonds, she says we probably shouldn't do it. So for me, I just don't think that it's something that we need to do. I mean, it's something we should do.
I agree with all that advice.
Mhm.
And we don't actually need to have a vote, just document in the minutes that we had discussed this, because it's not changing status quo. We don't really have a policy either way. So maybe it will clear it. for
Yeah,
folks,
I guess if we don't have a policy saying that we can't do, it, we probably need to
right?
to-
Yeah,
make that solid, so.
yeah. The big difference is the reserve program was not being done right anyway.
There were 7 law violations, that's why it went away. so.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
and
Well,
that was before your time
True.
too, to clarify
And I
that,
can-
but,
I can potentially see this impacting departments' budgets, not realizing all of a sudden they're gonna have to pay the overtime pay for these employees that do go to work for them.
and I think something that we need to be cognizant of with this vote is we have employees working for us full-time who cannot afford to make the ends meet with a full-time job.
I understand that.
That's, I think that's what we need to remember, but yeah, with all the advice, I can see both sides of this coin. But I will move that we not allow an employee to work 2 county jobs if one of those is full-time, based on the advice from legal counsel.
So what if Chase was only working, if he was only working 32, he could still work 8 for solid waste
Correct.
without having to be an overtime? But as long as he's working 40, he can't pick up any other hours with any other department.
Unless it were at time and a half,
Yep. Mhm.
right?
Okay.
That was the thing he had said, just straight time is fine. And that is actually allowed. But the nightmare to accounting, the best practices advice from HR, and Mackenzie's saying, you know, really it is technically, could go either way legally. I just think I think it's a slippery slope that we don't wanna go on at this
It is.
point.
The other thing I was thinking about is, so say if an employee worked a full week, but during that week they took vacation or sick leave, and now they come and work a part-time job, those hours, I mean, I can just see that turning into a real can of worms.
I can too, and vacation is there to let people recharge. Sick leave is for people to get healthy.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with ya.
And I will throw in this, there was an agency, I think in eastern Montana, and the person said, yeah, I'll do straight time. Then they became a disgruntled employee,
There you go.
and they came back and
Mhm.
they got paid a big chunk of money.
Sure.
So, I'm not trying to disagree by any stretch of the means, but you cannot control someone's behavior in 2 years if something bad happens. And they might say, yeah, it's all good and grand right now, but they get mad and next thing you know, they want 30 grand, you're like, crap, all right, so.
That was on my head, I just didn't wanna say it out loud. Thanks, Quinn.
It's weird, you know.
So how do we wanna address this? Just say that we're not going to allow, do we need to set a new policy for this then?
I don't think we necessarily need to, we certainly could, but I think the vote in the minutes will suffice. We can put that in the personnel policy handbook, we can draft something if we want to. We can refer maybe to Mackenzie on what would be the best thing to
Yeah.
do there.
That might be something to do to the amendment, just so it's there, it's written, and, but for now, I think the vote will suffice till we get that written in there.
Yeah, and give clarity, I think that's the most important thing. He's not the only employee interested,
All right.
Okay.
so.
Did we just have a motion to not allow employees who are currently working 40 hours in one department to accept a part-time job with another department?
Yeah, I did make that motion, and I do want the motion also to state per advice from legal counsel.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made, second, all in favor?
I
Opposed, same, motion carried.
I actually there's a part of me who's in favor of this. Although everything that's been argued and said makes tremendous sense, but I do like the idea of being able to monitor an employee that's getting overly tired working double jobs. But I stand by my vote, I think it's the right thing to do overall.
If I may make a comment, you were employers, you're not parents.
You're 100% right, Ann, thank you.
Yes, did you have something, Tim?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just for clarification, so right now, we're good to go on this decision, but is there a potential that the employee policy handbook may need to be updated coming down the road?
We did talk about that, Tim.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I
Yeah.
didn't miss that part.
Yeah, we will be updating the bullet.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll move on to our 11 o'clock. Cole. Community Development Director, Corey Swanson County Attorney, adopt family transfer policy affidavit.
Good morning.
I believe you all received the email from,
Yes.
Morning, Corey.
How are you?
And I think it's important to point out that he did email, he thinks the document is fine as it was presented.
That sounds good. Yeah, the only thing I would add is at the end of page 3, the preparer information. I don't know if we're- So, I think her point's a good point, that's actually not the surveyor that does that. That's not who the preparer is. The preparer is whoever prepares the document, whether it's the applicant or they have a lawyer that's doing it for them, whatever. Because the surveyor's doing the certificate of survey, but they're not the one that's attesting that everything else in this document is correct. Did I summarize that correctly?
yes, you did.
I would like to add too, by the documents, some of the requirements on this new document is going to lead the clients to have to get a title company, a lawyer, or put added stress to, say, the clerk and recorder's office, because if they've got to do research all the way back to 1973 for every survey or deed of transfer, and then additionally supply birth certificates, marriage license, and then there's also questions whether that they attest that this doesn't violate any statute, case law, administrative rule, or an attorney general opinion. Very few landowners are gonna have any access or knowledge of that information. I think this is going to be very burdensome to the landowner, a lot of these questions.
Do you see a lot of them now going to a title company for a family transfer or not?
No, I actually did research Friday, Jenny helped me too. In the last 6 years, there's been 25 family transfers filed in Broadwater County. And of those 25 family transfers, only 8 have been transferred out of the family subsequently. And of those 8, only 3 were done within a 2-year period.